What's up, guys? It's TRT77 here with my draft analysis for Season 1 of UPA Showdown. Uh, Now, UPA is a Wi-Fi league traditionally that is run by JV Westside, and I when they opened up the Showdown division, I did not expect to get in. I'm super excited to be a part of this league. I applied for it just on a whim, and I really didn't think I would get in, but I'm super happy to be a part of this league, and I'm really excited to bring you guys the Mahans that I drafted in this video. And I'm we do have, I'm pretty sure, at least like a few people uploading the Showdown division as well, at least about over half the league. So I will link the people uploading in their channels down in the description below, so please make sure to check them all out. Now, this was a points tier draft, 120 total points for 9 to 11 mons. This is actually the first point tier draft I have done in a long time, and it was actually the tiers were actually quite strict compared to what usual point tier drafts are. And there were a few steals. We did manage to get one really nice steal in there, but I think that overall the tiers were pretty damn good. We got the 14th pick out of 16, and as always, most of these drafts, it is in snake format. That is, you go from 1 to 16, and then 16 back to 1. So we had like a pseudo wheel, if I could say that. Like for example, our first and second round picks were very close together, only 4 picks apart. But like our second round to our third round pick takes a while because it's 28 picks apart. So that is reflected on some of the picks, but I'm quite happy with the team we've gotten, guys. And 16 total teams, so we didn't have like a whole lot. There is still a lot on the draft board if we need to make transactions. So I'm gonna start this off with our first pick. Now, our first pick cost us 16 points. We didn't go straight for the 18-point tier because obviously by the time you get to 14, most of the mons like the Dragapults, the Mews, they're all gone. So I went with a mon that I really want to keep using because I know BDL is ending soon. This is a mon that I really want to keep using. It's a mon I'm super comfortable with. A mon that's 1 kill away from being my all-time kill leader. It is Tapu Fini. Tapu Fini is coming back to the squad. A lot of people who probably don't know me don't realize how much history I have with this mon now, at least recent history. I just love using this thing. It's such a good setup threat. It's such a good support mon. It warrants so much prep, and Misty Terrain is so good for teams because of not being able to be status, the fact that it gets knock, taunt, the amount of setup it gets, the number of mons that are technically supposed to be its counters that it's 1v1'd. Like, it is such a good Pokemon to pick up first up, and I think this was a very stable pick first up to take for this team. Now moving on to our second pick, again another 16-point mon. The one thing I've realized in using Fini is that it likes a Pokemon or two that can annoy the crap or pressure the crap out of Steel types, and with the exception of 2 real Steel types, usually there's not a lot of other Steel types that really trouble Fini too much, because in the long run you can wear it down during the course of games. But we went with bringing back another member of our BDL squad. It is Victini. Now Victini absolutely murks Steel types, murks Poison types, murks bulky grass types. It is such a good Pokemon. Even though I haven't really done it justice in BDL, I'm hoping this is Victini's redemption arc, and I'm hoping this is where we get Victini out there and shining. And taking it second is my vote of confidence as mon. I think this is a great Pokemon, even though I've not been able to get the best out of it in the past. It's got so many sets. V-Create is just a dumb move. It's so hard to switch into for so many teams. And the fact that it pivots around, it's got a solid base tier, it's got Final Gambit tech. It's really a lot bulkier than people think it is, because that's how it works with all mythicals. Is base 100 across the board is not as frail as you think it is, even without investment. So moving on, our third pick of this draft is going to be a 15-point Pokemon. Now, I'm spoiler alert, I am going to do something similar to the BDL here, because I did get sniped off the dragons that I wanted. I wanted either Chomp or Mega Chomp, and both got sniped from me, and I was not gonna bother picking up another dragon where I was gonna risk weakening my own Dracos or weakening Outrages or other such things like that. So I wanted a steel type that was a very good grass check. Like, I need a steel type that 100% of the time beat a Pokemon like Rillaboom. So I went with Carbonite. Now, we got sniped on both Mega Scizor, but that was even before Feeny went, and regular Scizor. But Carbonite was around in round 3, and I saw no reason why not to bring back a member of our TBA Season 3 team. Carbonite is a really solid Pokemon. It's not quite as good in Nat Dex as it is in Gala Dex, but it's a setup threat. It's got a great defensive typing. It's a really reliable Defoggo. It gets U-turn, which means it's not as easy to just, you don't just throw in your counter to Carbonite and it just doesn't stay in. It's got a unique speed tier where it doesn't need a lot of investment to outspeed base 70s that are running min speed, and it outspeeds base 65s and 60s. So that's a very unique speed tier that I think that people sleep on with Carbonite, and it's just so bulky with its stats that it can pretty ably check Mons, and it works on this team as much as Carbonite's more of a balanced Pokemon. I'm just more looking to use it as a bulky pivot with a lot of setup options, because all it's going to take is 1 week of me setting up and sweeping someone with this for every other opponent to have to prep for setup Carbonite. And it having taunt for like stallier teams as well. I think we've already got 2 out of 3 Pokemon that have taunt, which is great already. So I really think this is a good pick for me at number 3. But the one thing that's concerning me already is we are a bit Coco weak. Like, the one thing I will always attest to in the draft format is teams need to know when they're Coco weak, and in general, sharing 2 electric weaknesses between Tapu Fini and Carbonite isn't great. So my next pick at 13 points was Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen coming on from our WPF squad. WPF was the first time I used this Pokemon, and I really have been enjoying using it. It is so much bulkier than its stats reflect, and it just hits so hard. And that typing is just so good at resisting so many things. Like, there's times where I honestly think this Pokemon, like 1v1, is such a hard mon to deal with for so many teams. The poison and ground stab and the amount of coverage it gets with sheer force, it's just a tremendous Pokemon to have on this team. And I thought of going Nidoking, which was cheaper, but I thought here I would rather get the bulkier of the 2 ground types. Plus, I already had the 85 speed tier, and I didn't want to get another mon doubling that 85 speed tier. And Nidoqueen nicely bridges Corv, Nidoqueen. We have a mon that's 67, 76, 85, and 100 right now. 4 picks in. This is a pretty good set of speed tiers right now. But now what we're missing is speed. And this next pick I did not expect to be around round 5. We did get sniped on Superior right before this pick, and I was really upset about that. And so I had to change the whole draft plan at that point, and that's when I saw this Pokemon on the board, and it was at 15 points. And I don't think this Pokemon should be at 15 points. I think it's definitely worth at least 16 or 17 this gen with how hard it hits. Having Tough Claws boosted dual wing beats, it's Mega Aerodactyl. Mega Aerodactyl this gen, getting Dragon Dance, getting access to dual wing beat, it's such a good Pokemon. It's okay. I'm always the guy who hates having to bring a Mega that I have to defog for, but this is one I'll gladly take the bullet for because it is such a difficult Pokemon to switch into. It is such a difficult Pokemon to overall check for most teams. Like, the number of Pokemon that just get 2-hit KO'd by this thing in the least just because of Tough Claws, boosted attacks, and that speed tier, that really difficult speed tier at 150. Like, it is such a good Pokemon to have on here. Even though it's our 3rd electric weakness already, and I've been counting, it is a Pokemon I'm really looking forward to using. It's a lot bulkier than regular Aerodactyl, and this is the first time we're drafting Mega Aerodactyl, so hopefully this works out well this season. Now, moving on to pick 6, I wanted something to bridge 100 to 150 because, that's a big speed tier grab. And the other thing I noticed is we don't have any priority. Right now, our priority is Quick Attack on Victini. And I think we get Sucker Punch on Nidoqueen. I'm not sure. But I wanted priority. I wanted a Mon that's offensively as a Scarfer, as a fast Scarfer, can milk a Choice Band better than Victini can, which is not, like, I'm not saying that Victini is a bad Choice Bander. It's a really good one, especially because Choice Band V-Create doesn't have switch-ins. But I do feel like a faster one than base 100 is always nicer for the way I play. So our next, and I also wanted a Mon that really screws with Psychic types. Even though right now we're not particularly weak to it, it's always just nice to have that in the back for Nidoqueen. And so our next pick, another 16-pointer, is Weavile. Now you can ask me, and you're probably thinking, okay, you've gone really top heavy. Like, you've got 3 16-point picks, a 15-point pick, and a 13-point pick in your first 6. But I did not want to miss out on Weavile here because it connected speed tiers perfectly without me having to draft another Mon that was either weak to Electric, or another Mon that was Jolteon, or another Mon that was possibly Noivern, which would have had to check its Dracos every time whether it had Misty Terrain up or not. So this branch the speed tier as well gives us a strong priority Mon, gives us another knock user. Weavile is so hard to switch into now that it got Triple Axle. Between Triple Axle, Ice Shard, Knockoff, and maybe Low Kick, that's a 4-move set pool that is it's just consistent. It is such a consistent Pokemon. And the ST set can just sweep entire teams that are not prepped for it. And I feel like Weavile is just one of those Pokemon that is just so threatening offensively. It's hard to ignore in this format. Now, moving on further to our next round pick, we got sniped again. I'm pretty sure this time it was on Miltank, which I was really surprised Miltank went round 6. I was not expecting it to go. I wanted Miltank because it's such a reliable rocker, and we've gotten work out of that thing in BDL. But you get sniped, you move on. That's just how the nature of draft is. And so I decided, I have more points to play with because I wanted another normal type instead of Miltank, which is going to come up later. And I decided I had more points to play with. So I was initially going to go Passimian with my next pick, but I decided, I'm going to upgrade my fighting type, and I am going to go Mienshao. Now, I know what it looks like right now. It looks like my draft is heavily physically based, but this is kind of the same way my BDL draft looked, and there's entire games where I've had 1 or 2 physical attackers. The reason for Mienshao being my pick here is really good pivot. A Mienshao, Victini, and Cov pivot core in a game where I can set up with Fini, where I can set up with Aero, where I can get Weavile in. It is just such a good pivot core to have around these Mons. Mienshao with Reckless can come into games with High Jump Kick, or Regenerator is also a really, really good ability in draft formats. It's another knock user. It's also another Mon that, it can set up in the right situations. And again, good speed tier, bridges 100 to 125, although I think we have to fix that tier as well later. 105 to 125 is still a gap. So again, really good Scarfer. The other thing I'm going to love about teams is they're going to have to scout my Scarfers. They're going to have to scout which is Scarf, which is banned every single time. And mostly we are going to annul teams on speed because our team is already extremely fast. And the fact that, base AD Scarfers don't come close to outspeeding Aerodactyl Mega. So we've got that part down. And offensive synergy-wise, I think we're pretty good to this point. But obviously now, taking another 11-point Mon with pick 7, we're pretty short on points. And you're probably thinking at this point, yeah, I didn't probably take 11 Mons. No, I still took 11 Mons. And my mantra with Pokemon Draft Leagues is very simple. It is, if you're going to take a low tier value Mon, it should warrant prep. It should warrant prep. There should be a move on your opponent's team that's for that Mon, and then it's totally worth the price you're paying. And that is why our next pick was at 4 points, Cradily. Now, Cradily is just an annoying Pokemon for teams to deal with. It's just such an annoying Pokemon for teams to deal with. It gets Stealth Rocks. It is a water immunity, which our team was not too great at dealing with, to be honest. At this point, like I know we had Tapu Fini, and but that being our only resist to this point was just something that was concerning to me. Having a Storm Drain Pokemon is a good water immunity. It's another electric resist. Even though it's a grass type that's not weak to flying, so it's an electric resist that can potentially take hits from a mon like Zapdos. It has got its fair share of weaknesses. Yes, it's fighting weak as well. But we do patch the fighting weakness. I mean, we have a Tapu Fini at the end of the day. It doesn't really matter, and there's another mon we draft later to cover that weakness as well. I think Cradily is a very good value pick, especially getting Leech Seed now. The fact that it can run Power Whip on the physical side, it can run a special set. This mon is just really good at being annoying in that miniature compressed role. And the thing is, there's going to be teams, and I've seen this in the past, where they just have to tack on Toxic on mons. And Toxic is going to be a move that they're going to want to hit Cradily with. And that's going to be a move that's not meant for Carbonite. That's a coverage move. That's a slot that's not being directed at Carbonite. And that's a dub. Like, I feel like that is where you get the most out of your low tier mons, is you bring them, even if you bring them 4 times in a 10-game season, you will still be able to get people prepping for them. In the right situations, you can always run a certain set that can absolutely destroy certain teams. And moving on to our next Pokemon. Our next Pokemon coming back from our BDL team is Dusclops. Now, I love this Pokemon. And the reason I love this Pokemon is it kills matchup fishes. It is the anti-matchup fish mon. Now, the first thing I'm gonna get criticism for with this team is, you drafted Dusclops with Misty Terrain? Dude, no, it loves to status things. I know Dusclops likes statusing things, but that's not what I used it for in BDL. What I used it for was trapping, 1v1ing things, melting things down with Seismic Toss. It gets a whole lot of other moves, and people think base 70 attack is bad. It is not. It is pretty bad, to be honest with you, but with Poltergeist, it is fine. With the moves it gets, it is fine. And the fact that this Pokemon is so bulky with the Violet, it doesn't get 2-hit KO'd by Pokemon. And that chip, that vital chip and that vital momentum that it kills in the middle of games is just so good. It always disrupts your opponent's teams, especially when you're in a situation where maybe a pivot goes down early. And I used it to great effect in the BDL season. It 1v1'd Urshifu, Rapid, and Volcarona in the same game, and then proceeded to do the same thing to Zapdos, Galar the following week. And these are things that, like, this is also another Pokemon that they're gonna have to bring a coverage move. You're gonna have to bring a Dark type coverage move for Dusclops, because, hey, guess what? Tapu Fini, that's a move that you can't hit Tapu Fini with. Now, that is, again, just drawing the prep away from those mons, and that is the best thing I could expect out of my low tiers. Now, moving on, pick 10. It's kind of hilarious because I'm actually spending more time on my low tiers than my higher tier mons, but I feel like these require more explanation sometimes. Moving on, our next pick is Keqlian. Coming back from our TBA team, I just wanted another Stealth Rocker. I'm going to be honest with you. I wanted a normal type, which was a Stealth Rocker. Normal typing was just good because I just don't have to worry about Shadow Balls hitting Victini. I just don't have to care. And at the same time, like, it's not really like a Spectrior check or something. Keqlian's not really, because yes, it's got the Spida stat, but it does not like getting burned. But at the same time, I do think this Pokemon is a really good value pick. It's a really good Assault Vest Pokemon. Again, this is an anti-matchup Fishmon. Like, there is going to be a matchup somewhere where Keqlian's 2-hit KOing every Pokemon, and it's just an annoyance in the middle of the game. And if you're too busy trying to check a mon like Keqlian, what are you going to do about a mon like Weavile or Mega Arrow? That is my point when it comes to this. And while it gives us another fighting weakness, I'm pretty sure between Dusclops and Tapu Fini, we're pretty fine on the fighting weakness spectrum. And the main thing is also people having to play that guessing game between, do I click fighting move, do I click dark move, do I click poison move? It turns those 50-50s in your favor when you have the right amount of conditioning in games. And moving on, our last pick is going to be Raichu. And Raichu was picked 6 points. I wanted an electric immunity. I thought of getting Jolteon at first, and then I just chose Weavile instead because I thought the offensive pressure would be nicer. Raichu is good. That's as much as I can say. I guess it does get Wish. It does. Lightning Rod is the reason I really drafted it, because it's just annoying. And the fact that it can set up on the special end, and it can just be really annoying on the physical end as well. It's got priority, it's got fake out. It's just, and it's actually got a wide move pool. And while it doesn't hit as hard as Pikachu with Light Ball, this Pokemon can just be annoying because that speed tier is just really good in the draft format. And it bridges Mienshao to Weavile 105, 110, 125. That's as good a speed tier bridge as we can possibly get. Now we've got quite a fast team while also having 2 base 40, 1 base 40, 1 base 43, and 1 base 25 Mon. So we're not really struggling in Trick Room. We've got fast Mons. We've got fast Mons that are off the ground. We've got Defoggers to get rid of those web teams. I am quite pleased with the team we've gotten. Would there be changes that I could think of? Yes, possibly. But at this point, I'm going to go into the season with this team, and I'm actually quite pleased with this team. And I think that overall, we've done a pretty good job with this draft, despite getting sniped probably quite a few times. It's probably like, I definitely got sniped a bunch of times during this draft. We've got 8 Taunt Mons, which is it's just hilarious. We've got 5 Knock Mons. We've got a lot of utility for the main breakers on this team. But only time will tell, guys, how this plays out. I'm really looking forward to our first game and just this league in general. And I hope y'all have a great day, and I will catch y'all on the next one. My uploads for both TBA and BDL will be a little bit delayed because both the games have been extended. But I'm not sure when we're going to get... We'll probably have at least 4 uploads this week. So, after this. So, that should all... give or take should be at least about 2 to 3 days to the next upload. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope to catch y'all on the next one. This is TRT77 signing off.